Good morning. We wait for your friends for a while. Yeah, some of you are not here yet. So we wait maybe 5 minutes. How is everyone? Are you all doing okay? How was your result? That's good. For my previous, for group one, group two, sorry, BAIT, what's what two? Forgot already. The security. How was your result? Okay, ka, Ivan. Okay, that's good. That's good to know, Ian. So, group two, I already know all of you. So we have for this course, it's combined with group one. So we have Noel, Farah. Is that how we pronounce it? Farah, and who else? The other one, siapa sudah? Not here yet. Who's your other friend? What's the name? Oh yeah, sorry, you have the same name with other chef juga ba in this class. So I call you Kelvin, is it? Yeah, Kelvin. So Kelvin, Farah, and Noel. Hello, this is your first time seeing me, I suppose. I will introduce myself more later on. Yeah, nice to have you here. Russell, can you help me to check who's not here yet? It's Wong, I guess. Both Wong and Solomon. Is it? Mhm. Mm, Jeremiah is not here yet. What else? Daniel, are you here? Daniel is not here yet. Daniel. Yeah. Daniel, Jeremiah, Wong, oh, Solomon is here. Oh, Daniel ada sudah. Jeremiah nanti. Hello, Daniel. Elsa. Alvin, are you here? Me too. Oh, Alvin is not here yet. Can help me to check with them. Oh, not here yet. Meanwhile, can you on your webcam? For our first class only, I will require you to on your webcam. I just want to see your faces. Mana tahu ada yang tukar sudah. So I will require you to on your webcam for a while only. I just want to talk to you face to face. Hello, Noel. I noticed you joined the class very early. Hello, Farah. Where are the rest? We take it slow today, ah. This is our first class, right? Hello, Danielle. Hello, Ian. Hello, Chuck. Russell. Yeah, Russell sitting. We are. Russell, you already check with the rest. I am not here yet. Oh, it's okay lah. Never mind lah. Let them be. If they're late, it's okay lah. Hello, Kelvin, Ivan, Lim, Jer, are you there? Solomon, Nathan, Celine. It's good to see you all again. How many subjects are you taking this semester? Six? Five? Four? Wow. But long semester should be fine lah kan? Oh, ada yang five, ada yang six. Are you all in the same semester? With group one, group two is the same in the same semester? Same four kah? No, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, Shark, no. Same four or three? Three or because I think last semester you told me you are in sem two or sem three. Can't remember. Russell, what semester are you in right now? Mm, oh, okay. Is it year two, sem three? Yeah, 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 sem six. Okay, all right. But I think is it the same with the rest, like with Kelvin, with Noel? Are you the same in the same? Should be kan? Should we wait for the rest? Palagi belum Alvin. Oh, okay. Thank you, Noel. Alvin is not here yet. Who else? Wong Yap Hao is not here yet. Okay. So while waiting for them, um, um, I will start recording after this. Yeah. Hello, Jer. I just see your face. Tapi lagi belum say hi. Okay, I will start recording now. Yeah. Okay. So for today, mm, Um, for today, I will do some course introduction, course overview of this course. I will. I think the other group were already with me last semester. No, in the beginning of the class, I will explain about the course that we are taking with me, and I will just briefly introduce myself because we have new member here that haven't then didn't take any course with me last semester, and I will also let you know my expectations. Okay, and then after that, I will show you the resources for this course, and then after that we will break for a while, and then we'll go to introduction, the first chapter for this course. Okay, so I hope that's okay with you. So we will take it slowly. This course is I would say it's not that heavy because it's 14 weeks or so. We don't have tutorial for this. We only have practical and lecture. We'll see how it goes. Okay, I hope we can. I hope it's easy for you all to follow. I will try to make it like easy to follow. All right. As you all know, I think you all already know. Only the first for this semester, the first 4 weeks will be online learning. The fifth week would be face to face. Okay. So I think for practical side, it will be easy for us to do face to face because I can see what you're doing on your computer in the campus. So it will be easier, I think. All right. So I think we can start now. So if you want to off your webcam, I already see your faces. You can off your webcam if you want to. So I will share my screen for the course overview first. Okay, hold on. Give me a sec. Okay. Thank you for showing me your face. Okay, so I will share my screen. Okay, so you should be seeing my PowerPoint slide course overview. Okay, so this is the course overview for the subject BSCS 3183. So first thing first, let me introduce myself. The most of you know about me already. So my name is Christy Eliti Sulaiman. You can call me Miss Christie or Madam Christie, whichever you prefer. So I have graduated from UMS with Master of Education, and I took my first degree with UTEM, Bachelor of Computer Science. Actually, major in computer networking, but I took this subject previously also, database. I did learn about database as well. My contact number, you already have it. It's in the WhatsApp group, and also my email address, the one that invited you to the Google Classroom as well as the Google Meet session. Okay, so this I think this is sufficient for you to know about me. So if you have any question, you can always ask. Okay, so throughout this briefing of the course overview, if you have question, you can ask question. You can type in the chat, and or you can use the raise hand function in Google Meet. Yeah. Okay. So about this subject, so this is BSCS 3183 Advanced Database Management. Okay. So I understand from Russell you have uh, taken a basic. I think it's basic database subject in diploma, if I'm not mistaken. This one should be the this course is advanced. You will be using Oracle SQL to study this course. So the credit hours will be three for this course. So it still can affect your CGPA with this credit hour count, 3 credit hours. So let's look at the course synopsis. Yes, so the course synopsis of this course, you will be provided with knowledge on IM, okay, information management, which will be focusing on representation, organization, transformation, and presentation of information. Also, the algorithms. What are the algorithms for efficient, effective access, and to update stored information and physical file storage techniques. Okay, so we learn all about this. So in addition to that, advanced concepts and issues related to transaction processing, also distributed databases, as well as advanced reporting will also be explored in this course. So now let's look at the course learning outcomes for this course. So the first one will be developing the relational database system. Okay, relational database system with appropriate integrity constraints as well as security controls. And then the next one, you will be designing a solution to issues pertaining to database efficiency and also effectiveness using appropriate techniques. Okay, so basically we will be using SQL, mostly command line. Okay, so you all are software engineering students, kan? So you should be familiar with coding, right? So this one should be easy for you lah. Okay. And then the third CLO would be extracting information from database using efficient SQL query. Okay, so we'll be using SQL query uh, in this course. Okay, so these are the three CLO. So your assignment, your test, your final exam will cover all these CLO. Okay. So next let's look at the course outline. So the lecture for this subject, for this the chapters, the topics for this course, they are 10 chapters. So we have information models which we will look at today, and then we have database systems, data modeling, a relational model, and then relational database design, query languages, indexing, physical database design, transaction processing, and distributed databases. So the cost this course outline it should be similar to the one that you have in your course plan. Okay, so for practical, we have 8. So this week we will be looking at how we will be looking at SQL plus. So this is the what do you call it? The command line prompt, the command line that we will be using. The command line, I would say, is software. The software that you will be using, that we will be using for this subject. So you will later when you install the Oracle, when you install the Express Edition, we will have this in your machine. So we'll be using this a lot. And then we will be in week 2, we create database objects and so on. So we also have PLSQL. Okay, so this one also we will be using this trigger, sequence, indexing, views, and the last one would be introduction to NoSQL. Okay, so these are the practical, the course outline for practical, and then the references. Okay, so this one is the main references supporting the course. This one I took from the course structure, but you can also find many references from internet. Okay, so this one also I already provide you with the ebook in the Google Drive. If you haven't checked it yet, I have, I think, 3 or 4 ebook that is related to this subject. Okay, it's in the Google Drive folder. And then assessments. Okay, so the assessment for this subject, for this course, for coursework will carry 70%. Okay, it's very big. And then you will have final assessment 30%. Okay, so in coursework, you will have a written test. So this one should be your midterm test, usually conducted in week 7, covers chapter 1 to 5. So for this one, I will let you know what you need to expect for the written test. And then assignment, okay, assignment, you will need to do an assignment. So for assignment, I will explain more during practical. Okay, the assignment instruction I already posted in Google Classroom, and you can also access it from the Google Drive as well. So and then final assessment, it's 100% as usual. So it carries 30% marks of your overall course mark. So for final assessment, I think all of you know already, the final assessment for this semester, tentatively it is planned to be face to face. Okay, so no more e-assessment, no more online assessment. So it will be face to face. So meaning to say you will be sitting for the exam at the campus, face to face. Okay, so overall mark 70 plus 30, 100%. Okay, so the contact hours for this semester, for this course with me. So this semester is 2022-2001. It's long semester, 14 weeks. 14 weeks. So we have lecture 2 hours per week, every Wednesday, 9 to 11 a.m. And then we will have practical session 2 hours per week. So every Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. Okay, so I will see you every Wednesday and every Friday for this course. So no tutorial session. Okay, weekly planning. You can refer to the course plan. You can access it through Google Classroom, and you should be able also be able to see it in your intranet. Okay, I will show you. We will go through it after this. Okay, and then expectations. Okay, those who were with me last semester know already my expectation, but every lecturer should have the same expectations. I would expect you to be on time, attending the classes. You also need to be participative. I expect you to be participative, especially during practical time. And then you should not miss any class. You must not miss any class except when you have a good and valid reason. So if let's say if you have trouble attending the class, please inform me. Okay, you have my number. Please inform me if you cannot attend the class, or if you have any internet connection problem or whatsoever. Just let me know. Okay, and then you can apply leave. Dr. Christopher will give you a leave and so on. So this one you know already. Lah. Okay, make good this one also. I will not explain this. You already know about this. So you have this opportunity to do a make good test, but I would prefer you not to do this. You just need to score for your assignment and your midterm test. Okay. So that's all for course overview. Do you have any question for the course?
No.
Okay.
No.
So far, okay. Okay. Yeah, hold on now. So now I will show you the, I know you already access the Google Classroom, but I just want to show you. Okay. So I will share my tab. Okay, so this is, hold on. All right. So this is the Google Classroom for this subject, ESCS 3183, Advanced Database Management for Sabah Branch, RSD2, Group 1 and Group 2. So I have posted here the Google Drive folder for this subject. Um, this one also is the same with the one that I put in the WhatsApp group description. Okay, so when you access the Google Drive, you will see these folders. So you should see the assignment here. So this one where we will explain more during practical. And then you have the course details, the course plan, and also the course structure and lecture notes for all week of 10 chapters. Should be 10. I will check again, yeah. Okay, so all the lecture notes is here, and then practical also. So at practicals, so I think I haven't. Oh, that's that. Okay, so all the questions are here. So from weekly, I will update the the folder if there are other information that you need to know or any other file that you need to access for practical purpose. Okay. So these are the scripts for the practical one. So if possible, I would really appreciate if you can install this 21C Oracle in your machine before we start our practical this Friday. Okay, so look through this installation guide. It should be very easy, very straightforward. You just go to the download page, and then you download the installer, and then you just follow the instructions. Very easy one. Unless you have previous version of SQL or previous version of Oracle, maybe you will have problem. Okay, practical, that is for practical. What else? Also reference. So I have four here. Ebook. These all are ebook. So you can refer to this if you want to have reference. Okay. So we have four here. And then what else? So in our classwork, in your classwork, you should see topics. So I will every week I will update the stream. I will put up what like which lecture will be we will be looking at for that particular week, because for because we have 14 weeks kan 14 weeks, so according to the course plan, some lecture will be covered in 2 weeks. Okay, so I will put up like for week 2 what is the lecture that we will cover, so I will upload here. I know other lecturer will dump every all lecture notes in the Google Classroom, but I don't really practice that. Um, I prefer to like to make this Google Classroom active, means you always check for any update for every week lessons. Okay, similar to practical as well. Yeah, so and then the assignment here, you will also submit assignment under assignment, and you will see the course details, need recording. This one after I upload the I share the link of Meet recording. You will see it here, and also the references. Okay, so this one is not in the Google Drive. So this one you can also download this for your for this one is for practical. Okay, Oracle User Admin also you'll be using this for your practical. Okay, so any question about the course? So far, so good.
No.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, thank you. Are you all how when you see this subject, what did you think? Will it be hard? Will it be okay? I also don't know. I hope we can go through this together, lah. I try my best to help you, and you also need to help me as well, lah. Okay. So do all the tasks, attend all classes, and do all the tests. It should be fine. Okay. So for practical, you might need to do some submission as well for every week. There is a homework of every week for practical, so you need to submit. Yeah, or if maybe if you cannot macam like you didn't submit, you need to show proof that you have done the homework. Okay, so that for that one for practical, I will explain more during practical session. Okay, so once again, I would prefer you to download the installer and install the software before we start our practical session. Just let me just show you where to get the link to download. Okay, so I have shared here. It's under practical topic. Okay, practical. You should see the installer. You should get the installer from here. Okay, just click on this, and then you should see this Oracle Database XE download. So the CC require you to us to use this edition. So it should be Oracle Database 21C Express Edition. So if I think all of you are using Windows, right? So this one is the one that you need to download. Okay, you download this, and then you find the setup.exe, and then you install from there. Okay? Anyone already installed this? Have anyone installed this? Oh, okay. So no problem, Manuel, installing it. Okay, that's good. Okay, so the rest, okay, so the rest of you who have not installed yet, please do so, so that we will have a smooth session during practical. Okay, so you can do so after this, after our lecture. So I'll give you 5 minutes break. Okay, 5 minutes break before we start our lecture for today. Okay, I'll see you again after 5 minutes. Okay, is everybody here? Can we start? Okay, yeah, we start now. Okay, so for this week lecture, we will cover for chapter one, information model. So this is BSES 3183 Advanced Database Management. Chapter one, we will talk about information models, introduction to information management. Okay. So if you have question, you can type in the chat. Yeah. So let's look at the introduction. So what is information management? So information management it plays a critical role in almost all areas where computers are used. So every time we use computer, we are working with information. Okay. So what does this IM do? Information management. It includes the capturing, also digitization, representation, organization, transformation, and also presentation of information. Okay, so maybe if there is a question, there is question for your test, maybe you can be asked like to define or to explain or to discuss what is information management. Okay, so you can include these key terms here. So information management, it capture, it digitize, it represent, it organize, transform, and present information. Okay, so we will be using algorithms. So what does this algorithm do? It helps with efficient and effective access and updating stored information. Okay, so stored information here is referring to the information that is stored in our computer. Okay, so this one will be covered in chapter 6, chapter 7, and also during practical. Okay, so we will also look at data modeling and abstraction. So information management also, we will have data modeling and also abstraction. So this one will be covered in chapter 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and then there will be also physical file storage techniques, which will be covered in chapter 7. And also, we will also look at information security, privacy, integrity, and protection in a shared environment. Okay, so this one is very similar to the previous course that you have taken with me. I think the other group also have taken this subject, the security subject. So it's very similar to that. It's CIA actually. It's talking about the security on how to secure our information. Okay. So this is the introduction, and then let's look at more introduction on information system. So what is the goal of information system? Then, so the goal of information system is to data, transforming data into information. Okay, so you will get a raw data, and then you will convert it to information. Okay, so when you have this information, you will actually generate knowledge. Means you get a knowledge from that information, so it can be used for decision making. Okay, so we look at several types of information, data, and knowledge after this. Okay, so for example, like the system, it must be able to take data. Okay, you collect data, then you insert or you input the data into context and provide tools for aggregation and analysis. So for this course, the tools that we will be using is Oracle. The service is Oracle, and we will be using SQL Plus to do this, to do the aggregation and analysis. Okay. So basically, this picture here shows you the basic idea of of the information model, information system. So we have the data, the facts, okay, and then the information. Okay, you will get information which taken from the captured data, and it will produce knowledge. So from the knowledge that was gathered from data and also information, you will be able to make decision. Okay, so we'll look at more example after this. Okay, so there are lots of data nowadays. We have a lot of data around us. So data is constantly being generated in clicks, interaction on social media, shares, rides, right? You have we have Grab ride, transactions, also streaming content, and so much more. Okay, those are just few. So when examine this data can help you better understand a world that is it is moving at increasing speed. Okay, so how much of this data is useful information? So all the data that you get from the internet, how useful is it, right? So how useful is it to you? So here we have many types of data you can get from Zoom, Reddit. Okay, if you own Reddit, Reddit's a very interesting site. Netflix, DoorDash, Instagram, and so on. There are a lot more. So how much of this data is useful information? All data that we access through the internet is useful to us. Okay, so you can refer. This one is taken from this link here. And then now let's look at the characteristic or the differentiation between data, information, and knowledge. So first thing first, let's look at sorry, what is data. Okay, so data is it's the raw bits and pieces. So it's the raw bits and pieces of information with no context. It's just data. Okay. So if I told you like not just numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, you would not have learned anything, right? So, but in this context, I already give you a data which is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So it's unanalyzed facts and unanalyzed data. So it's raw. So that's what we call data. So by itself, if you only have the data, it will not be useful. It's not that useful. Okay, so to be useful, the data that I've given to you or the computer has given to you, it needs to be given a context. Okay, so that's where information came in, whereby the number, um, the information or the data, like I will give you just now 1, 2, 3, 4, for example. So by adding context, how do we add context to the data, to the raw data? Maybe if you give a context like those are numbers of students that have registered in the previous semester, for example. So maybe class A, 1 student, class B, 2 student, class C, 3 student, class D, 4 student, for example. Okay, so when that happen, when we convert or when we apply a context into our data, into our raw data, it will be meaningful and useful, right? So that we know that oh, last semester only 1 student registered for class A, but there are 4 students registered for class D, for example. Okay, so you have it's already meaningful and useful to the receiver, to the people that is getting that kind of information. Okay, so after that, after you have the information, so you will gain the knowledge. Okay, you will get the knowledge from the information that, and then the information will be used to make decision, right? So we can say that this consumption of information, it will produce knowledge. So this knowledge can be used to make decision, or maybe to set policies, or even spark innovation in other case. Yeah, so for example, like the example I give you just now, so if class A only 1 student, what should we do? Okay, why is there are 4 students in class D but not in class A, for example? So you can like make discussion to tackle the situation. So that's how information is useful to us. Okay, so more discussion on this. So these are the view of actually the information management system. So we have data, okay, which is the facts, the figures, the observation, and then we have the information, data with interpretation, and we have the knowledge, information in context with understanding and meaning, and then the last part we also have wisdom, knowledge with insight. So usually, this the final step up of the information ladder is the step from knowledge, which are going to wisdom. Okay, so we can say that someone will have the wisdom when they can combine their knowledge and experience to produce a deeper understanding of a topic. Okay, so it often take many years to develop wisdom on particular topic, and it will require patience. So that's why usually for researcher, right? So researcher, they collect information, they collect data, they analyze the data, and then they provide context to the data, they give assumption, they convert the information to knowledge, and later on after they finish the research, they will have the wisdom. Okay, so the wisdom, which they have the knowledge with insight, means the knowledge that they have at this peak is taken from the raw data, the information and the knowledge that they have researched in the previous years. Okay, so let's now look at an example of COVID cases. Okay, COVID cases. So, what do you think this is? If COVID cases, are they data or information? Are these data or information? What do you think? Type in the chat. Okay. Anyone else? Yeah. Keep going. Yeah. So, are these? Is this one? We always see this, right? Previously, it was like hot topic. Like now, still hot topic, but I don't. Me also, I don't update myself with this anymore. But this is the world leaders of the info for coronavirus by countries. So yes, you all are correct. This is data. It's raw, right? So it's just data like giving you numbers like Kuwait berapa cases, Egypt how many cases, Malaysia how many cases, how many are the case for how many new cases for Malaysia and so on. So the new deaths and so on. So it's just numbers, right? So we discussed previously, if it's just number, raw data, just give you the number. Oh okay, ada this number. So this one we consider this as data in this case. Okay, so this is data. So let's look at this. So how about this? Is this data or is this information? What do you think? Mm-hmm. Keep going. Yeah, is this data or information? Some of you say info or data. Okay, so let's go back to data, right? It's raw data, the one that we have here. This is the raw data. So from this data, you actually analyze this data and convert it into information, right? So this one we consider it information because it gives you knowledge of how how bad is the coronavirus cases, right? So don't worry if you are wrong. So now you know. So every time we process a raw data, so we take the data from the countries, right? We take all the raw data from here, and then you convert it, you put a context into the data, and you give a view of how bad is the cases, how bad is the total death, so that people will get the knowledge of from January 2022, the cases are it's zero. Okay, because it's maybe it's not in the data lah. Okay, so when you fill in the data into your analysis, So it will give you like this graph, like showing you the spike of the cases. Okay, so similar to the depth. So from here, you already get the information, you get the knowledge, like, oh, we need to do something about this. So the cases are increasing. So what should we do with this information? What should we do with this knowledge? So it will help the authorities. Okay, so in Malaysia is KKM lah kan. So KKM or the Ministry of Health. So they will make a decision according to this data. According to this information, um, to decide if you want to do anything like PKPD or lockdown or whatsoever. So this one we consider this as information. Okay, logic, is it logic acceptable? So every time we process data, we will get information. So the information that we get will give you the knowledge on what to do next. Okay, so yeah, thank you, Noel. So this is, so let's look at the next slide. Okay, so still about the data. So by 2025, it's estimated that humanity will have produced a total of 175 zettabytes of data. So it's that big. Okay, so in the future, even now, we already producing a lot of data. So how does this will impact our daily life? Okay, so of course, data is constantly being generated in a click. Okay, all those region shares your transaction, your streaming content. So it's really increasing in a very fast speed, right? So now let's look at we have looked at some introduction on data information and knowledge. So now let's look at DBMS. Okay, so now we at DBMS, database management system. Okay, so information, how does information system and the DBMS related? Okay, so we have for this topic for this course you will learn more about a database management system. So when choosing a DBMS, you need to take into account the complexity of the products. So usually for DBMS software, it's very complex and it's getting more complex with each new release. Okay, so every database management software, it's very complex, right? So you will need to plan and support all the features of DBMS if you are planning to have this DBMS. So you what you will be doing with this DBMS, you will deal with unstructured data, you will have this data extraction, transform, and load, and you also have OLAP and OLTP, okay, query. You will have transaction processing. This one we will learn more in later chapter, and also analytical processing. Okay, so some other things in DBMS, we also have a data warehouse. So data warehouse, it provides user with the opportunity to work with historical data. Historical data means the previous data that was gathered to identify patterns and trends and answers to strategic business question. Okay, so don't worry if you don't understand what this is. This one is just theories for you to understand, for you to know that this exists in DBMS. So we also have ETL. So ETL system usually it will take large volumes of raw data from multiple sources, okay, and it converts it into information for analysis, and it will load the data into data warehouse. Okay, so the ETL system will get information from operational DB, other internal data, or maybe external data. They like inject the data into this system, and then it goes to data warehouse, the DBMS. Okay, so inside the data warehouse DBMS, we have metadata and also the database. And then after the data has been analyzed, it will be used for business intelligence tools. Okay, so this one is in business view. Okay, So now let's look at categorization of information. So there are four here. We look at each one of these. So categories of information. So let's look at the first one, source. Okay, so source of information. So you always get new information every day, right? Like maybe for your, I'm not sure if you read news, the new technology or maybe new game, for example, like new manga release, a new anime release. So you will get many sources every day from the internet, right? So you need to know where the source come from. So we have four here listed. So we have primary information. So primary information is usually the original source document. Okay, so if you notice, if you're into news, so usually, like for example, like New York Times um, publish this one particular news, okay, today. So later on in the afternoon, other publishing company also take cite the original source from New York Times. They republish it, so it will become the secondary information. Means they get the information from the primary information. Okay, so this one will always happen with nowadays always happen with publishing companies, like for newspapers and news companies. When one news publish one new events, so they become the original source of the news. Okay, and then other publishing company will take it, like they quote or they cite from the original, they and make it as the content, so it become the secondary information. Okay, so it process the primary source. So this one will be the second hand version of the primary information. And then we can also have internal information and external information. So for information, as the name says, it's taken from within the company. Okay, so internal documents, internal information, internal information you get within the company. Okay, so maybe within the company, maybe from different departments. Okay, and you can also have external information. As the name says, external, it's outside from the company. Okay, outside the company. So it's usually when you want to gather information, you either interview customer or you examine published data. Okay, so examining published data is like similar to the COVID case just now. Okay, so these are for source. So let's look at the next one. So we have the nature of information. So if you are familiar with research terms, so this one actually always used in research. So we have qualitative and also quantitative. So let's look at what are these. So usually qualitative. Okay, so qualitative data is descriptive. Okay, descriptives means how it looks. Okay, how it looks. So the type of data that describes properties or the characteristic used to identify things. So basically what you see. Okay, what you see. So this one is qualitative. So for this unicorn, the qualitative data that you can get from here is that the unicorn has a gray horn and a rainbow mane. Okay. So how about if it's quantitative? So quantity, you think of quantity, it's numeric, it's numbers. Okay. So these it's result of a measurement, count, or maybe some other mathematical calculation. So this is the type of data where the values have been measured or counted. Okay, quantitative. So you think about numbers. So in this case, in this unicorn picture here, so for quantitative data that you can take from this picture is that the horn size is 6 inches long and its mane has 7 colors. Okay, so this is how we differentiate between qualitative and quantitative. Okay, so we have more example here. So we have example one for oil painting. So we have the qualitative data here. Okay, so you look at it. So it's blue or green color. It is installed on a gold frame, and it smells old and musty and so on. So this is what you see, what you look when you look at it. So when it's quantitative, you look at the measurement or you think numbers, right? So the picture is 10 by 14, frame 14 by 18, and so on. Okay, so usually we will look at numbers. So another example here, latte. Qualitative data from this particular item here would be the aroma, the appearance, the taste, and the cup, right? So how about if it's quantitative data? So it is 12 ounce of latte. It's served in the temperature served is 150 Fahrenheit, and then so on the cost. Okay, so quantitative, you think of numbers. Qualitative, you think of the look of it. Okay, is everyone okay?
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
right. Thank you. All right. So next we have the next category of information. We have level. So we have strategic information, tactical information, and also operational information. So let's look at the first one. So the first one is strategic information. So this one is usually for long-term decision. Okay, long-term decision. So it could be when you want to identify new markets and products to plan growth and to reallocate resources across divisions. Okay, so this is like for to make your process in your companies more strategic, you will have this kind of information. And then we have tactical information. Tactical information, you have it's used for tactical planning and decision making within the guidelines set from this strategic plan. Okay, so usually it's when you want to choose supplier. Okay, so you identified the your new product, and then you need to find supplier, right? So when you go to choosing supplier, so that one will be in tactical information. Okay, and then you can also have it when you revise staffing levels, your sales, your inventory and cash, and prepare budgets. So usually this one is referring to decision making and tactical planning. Okay, and then the last level is operational information. So as the name says, it's for operational planning. Okay, so it's based on this tactical planning that you have here. So usually it will be like correct order delays, right? When you have the supplier and then you already set the order and so on. So maybe you will have delays. You will need to schedule employees who will work this shift, who will work that shift, and then find production bottlenecks, like what are the problems with the production and so on. So you can also have with monitoring resource usage. Okay, so these are the levels for level for information. So this is the view of level of information that I mentioned earlier on. So in lower part is it's operational, and we have tactical and we have strategic. Okay, so strategic information, it's used at the very top of management within an organization, and it's used for decision for long term, right? And then tactical information, um, it's for it's still for decision making, but it takes place within the guidelines that set by this level, right? And then the low operational information, it is the planning that take place based on what have been planned in tactical planning. Okay, so transaction databases are usually, for example, like human resource database, inventory database, or production database. So this one, I so this kind of operational databases, it will actually be used for individual operational databases and to summarize and integrate operational databases. And then the last one, to external data sources and summarize the tactical database. Okay, database, yeah. So this is for level of information in terms of management hierarchy. Okay, now we have category of time information. So we have history, okay, historic, like historical information. We'll have present information, and we have future information. Okay, so as the name says, it's very easy to understand. Like historic is after you gathered and you stored over a period of time. Yeah, so usually this one will allow decision makers to draw comparison between previous and present activities. It can also be used to identify trends. Okay, so all the information that you have fall into this uh, historic time. It can allow you to identify the trends, similar to the COVID cases just now. Okay, and then present information, it's created from activities during the current time, during the current work window. And future is the one that you predict. Okay, it's created using present and historic information to try to predict. We want to predict future activities, trends, and events relating to the operation of an organization. Okay, so these are types of information that we have for time. So let's look at this one. Okay, so is this for this information? What what type of time is it? Is it historic? Is it present, or is it future information? So today, it's what what level? What time is it? What type of information? Today, today will be present, right? Yeah. Okay, so today would be present. And then from this, from the weather that we have today, you will be able to predict future information, correct? So you don't have any historic information here, right? So you just from present information, you will be predicting the next day's in weather. Okay, for Sabah. Okay, okay. This one I think during the banjir of 51 mm rain, very heavy rain. Okay, so thank you so much for your input, Noel and Ian. So this is present and future information. Okay, next information. So let's now look at information capturing and representation. But I think I will give you 5 minutes break. Then we continue. Okay. Okay, can we continue? Is everybody here?
Okay.
Fine.
Okay, I assume everybody is here. Okay, all right. Siapa? Okay, so we continue on how we capture information and how we represent it. How capturing of information happen, how and how it is being represented. Sorry. All right. So usually information capturing can be through OCR or barcode or through RFID, document imaging, like scanning documents, and the most famous one is the www. Okay, our websites. Okay, so we have Twitter, blogs, social networks, Facebook, Instagram, and web pages. Okay, so for this particular part here, it will require big data analytics. Okay, so the current cloud computing environments, it consists of thousands of large servers managing so-called big data for users on the web. Okay, so big data is the current term of enormous data sets that is generated that are generated by web as well as mobile applications. So that's why I say earlier on, we are like creating or we are producing data every day. Even when you like react on any post on Facebook, or when you play games, you chat with your friends through Discord, you do streaming through Twitch, for example. So you are actually contributing to this big data. Okay, so for this one, for this big data, so usually for in database term, we use NoSQL, a non-relational databases. So this one we learn at the end of this semester about NoSQL. So this one is used to store big data usually. Okay, so this the more information on NoSQL, it's generally interpreted as not only SQL, meaning that in systems that manage large amounts of data, some of the data is stored by SQL system. Okay, so the traditional way to keep or to store a database on the internet on our computer is using SQL systems. Okay, so those data, other than using this SQL system, other data would be stored using this NoSQL. Okay, but of course it depends on the application requirement as well. So it must support NoSQL. Okay, so every if the application only support SQL system, so it will not be able to use NoSQL. Okay, so that's why it always depend on the application of the requirement of the application. Okay, so NoSQL we will look detail into this one at the end of this semester. This is the final chapter, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so still in big data analytics. So it can be about politics, it can be in business, it can be healthcare. Yeah, so the majority of raw data, particularly big data. So big data is a raw data. It doesn't offer a lot of value in its unprocessed state. But with data in hand, when you already have the data, you can begin to do the analytics. Okay. For example, like politics in US, in UK, they use uh, the data, okay, the data for election results. They can do prediction even before the election, even before you do the voting, they can already predict the future election results. Okay, and for business, so for business, this big data is useful to target social media advertising or etc. So for this one, like for example, in Facebook, you there is an ads like you were interested in, so you click on that particular ads in Facebook, for example. So when you go to Instagram, So the data is already there, means like they already gather the data that you like this particular product. You click this on Facebook, so they will process, they will analyze like that, they will set that, oh, this person, this account, this person, he likes this particular product. Let's say, for example, a shoe. So in Instagram, when they notice you log into Instagram, they will actually have the privilege to show the same ads in Instagram as well. As you all know, Instagram and Facebook is one company, so they can actually utilize, they will fully utilize the data that they have from all the platform that they own. And also healthcare, the identification of epidemics and market efficiencies in delivery. So this one, healthcare, has been the top big data analytics for the past years after the COVID happened. So they use it to analyze about the pandemic, about the virus. Okay, so there are many other things as well. Okay, so this is just some info, some news on analytics. So COVID-19 has been a top focus of 2020, 2021 as well, right? Okay, so um, so let's now look at this one. So big data, explain more about big data. So we have big data is referring to a very large volumes of data, like I mentioned earlier, in many different varieties. So it can have many varieties of data types, and it need to be processed at a very high velocity, high speed, because it's a lot, right? So the analytics here, it uses systematic analysis and interpretation of data using mathematical, statistical, and computational tools. This one is to improve our understanding of a real world scenario. Okay, so let's now look at this graph here. So this is the big data analytics, the analysis what happened. So the first one would be descriptive analytics. Okay, descriptive analytics, usually you it will actually gather what happened. Okay, the purpose of this is to summarize what happened, and then go to diagnostic. So according to the data that you have from the descriptive analytics, you go to this diagnostic analytics. So you will look at why is this happening here? What happened? Okay, just take the data. What happened? COVID. So why is this? Why is it happening? Why is COVID happening? So it will look at the past performance to understand why, what happened and why. Okay, so the past performance will be the one that we gather from here. And then from this information here, you will predict. Okay, so you already know why COVID happened. So you will look at the trends, right? You predict what will happen. You study the recent data. Also, you study the historical data. We'll analyze the recent as well as the previous data that we already have. So COVID and why is it happening? So you use that to do the predictive analytics. So you will know what will happen in the future. Okay, so we will, after that, you will have the prescriptive analytics. Okay, so you already know the trend is like the COVID is happening, and it's happening because of this, and the trend is like this. It's very, the the trend is very worrying, right? So the prescriptive analytics will be recommending one or more action on showing of the likely of each decision. So it will help to make decision. Yeah, decision making is happening here according to the data that you have gathered previously. Okay, so this is a type of big data analytics. Okay, so other than big data, we also have metadata, which is referring to information about another set of data. Okay, so metadata, maybe you have heard of this. So it's taken from Greek, meta plus with Latin, data, which refers to information. So literally, it means data about data. So one example to illustrate this is library catalog. Okay, so in library catalog, it will contains data about the contents and location of the book. So they are the data about the data in the book, right? So this is a sample catalog record. So this is the metadata of the book. Yeah, so inside, so the metadata is the data about the data. Okay, so let's look at the next picture here. So this one is, I don't think this one is in your lecture slide. I just added this yesterday. So let's look at this picture here. So this is a cat, right? So this is the data. So what is the metadata of this? So the metadata of this is a JPEG. Okay, so the file name is that's it, the JPEG. The author of this picture is this one, and the date it's captured is this date, and then the location of this picture. Okay, so the data is the picture of the cat, and the metadata will be explaining detail about the data. Okay, so it's basically data about data. Okay, can you get it?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right. So this is for in terms of database, you have this metadata scheme association with data. So this is an example of data dictionary. So we have name, the type of the name that we have here, the length of it, minimum, maximum, if any, the description of the name and the source. Okay, so usually this one we will learn more in practical. So you will actually assign, or you will actually have this. You will create this data dictionary in your database. Okay, you will have section, semester. This one is actually in education field, like Otasi, right? You see, you have your course, you have your section, you have your semester, you have your name, you have your student name, your major, and your GPA. Okay, so each data here, you will have the metadata of it. Okay, so you have what is the type of it. Section should be integer, semester should be alphanumeric. So alphanumeric is combination of number and alphabet. Okay, so usually to be safe, you will always put alphanumeric unless it's really integer. Okay, so integer is number, alphanumeric and decimal would be numbers with decimal places. All right, so that is an example of data dictionary for metadata in database. Okay, so how a database is data so that it can be found. So it is by storing metadata scheme or associated with the data. So usually the DBMS schema it is stored in the data dictionary. This one is example of data dictionary. So in Oracle, so this one we will do and doing practical. So we will have views such as view all users, view all tables, all columns, uh, all these strings lah. Okay, so we have this. You can view all user in your database. You can view all tables. So this one is the command that we type in Oracle for you to retrieve the data dictionary. So this is just an example. So let's say this one is example. This description of all users. Okay, so when you type this in SQL Plus, so you would see uh, the information that is retrieved from the data dictionary. So you have name, you will have username, user ID when it is created. Okay, so This one is usually will be shown in your view. So depending on how you design your database, and then the type, okay, varchar, variable and character, number, date. Okay, so these are the type, that data type. Okay, so this is just an example on how you retrieve data dictionary through Oracle. So this one is using SQL Plus. Okay, and then we have indexing. Okay, so indexing we will also have one chapter particularly for this topic. So indexing, it expedite the selection and filtering of data. So specialized indexing structures will allow efficient search for data objects. So because if we have a big data, big number of data in your database, you would want to use indexing to expedite your process of analysis. Okay, so we have hash file, b3, b p plus trees, bitmap, etc. So this one we'll learn more in later chapter. And then this one will also the indexing will also help you to make your database efficient and tuning and able to tune. Okay, so let's say for example this is a command line. There's common select, usually asterisk is actually it refers to all. Okay, select all from employee. So this one is the data type. So this one is the name of the column that you have in your table, where employee ID is E03. This one lah, then the employee ID. Okay, so using indexing, you rather than you view all of the things that you have here, you will only get the output showing this particular employee ID. Okay, where is it? So it should be only showing this one, this view, and you will be able to locate the particular employee ID that you want to find. Okay, so it's here. It's team. Okay, so this is just an example view of indexing. Okay, you will learn more during practical and in later chapter. Okay, so we also can do queries to access our database. So in procedural queries, user instruct the system to perform a series of operation to produce the desired result. So usually this one will require technical knowledge. Okay, so the programmer must have the right sequence of instruction. So this one will require technical knowledge. So for declarative queries, so this one you only need to state what you need and how to get it. Sorry, what you need but not how to get it. So this one is when we use SQL. Okay, so we just tell the database that I want this. Okay, but you don't tell, but you don't have to tell how to get it. You just state what you want, and SQL will give you the output or the result. So here in declarative queries, users will tell us what data to be retrieved from the database, and the user has to specify what to do. Okay, so for example, like maybe for when you want to get a CGPA information, for example, you will have various queries to get the marks of student in each subject. Okay, so this one, it's we are not talking about GUI, we're talking about database command line. So you can use SQL to you just query what you want, like you just show CGPA or whatsoever that you set in your table. Okay, and then we have navigational query. So navigational query is where the searcher or the user, they know what you want and you go find it. Okay, so usually for navigational, the search query entered with the intent of finding a particular information. Okay, so it could be a word, a name, a brand, that or any uniquely associated with one particular website. So example here like HP, eBay, Hotmail, and so on. Okay, and also it can also be a partial or complete web address. So navigational queries is usually happens in for websites. Okay. All right. So this is the last part of this chapter for this chapter one. So information security. Sure, you already know about CIA, right? So can I check with Noel, Farah, and Calvin? Have you taken the subject security? Why didn't you take last semester
Security, yes.
already?
Yeah.
Uh, Okay, thank you. So the CIS, so I believe everyone know already what is this, but we just do revision lah. Okay, so information security, it's to protect the confidentiality of our information, the integrity, and also the availability of our information. Okay, so this is the CIA. First is confidentiality, to preserve authorized restriction on information access and disclosure. And then we have integrity, whereby we guard against improper information modification. So we don't want our information to be modified or distracted. So it also ensure information authenticity, right? Because there should be no modification, so it's authentic, and there should also be non-repudiation. And the last one is availability. Okay, so availability. Last semester there's a good question kan about this one. Everyone got it right. So availability is when you want to ensure timely and reliable access to the information, and every time the user want to use the information, it's always available, right? That's CIA. So let's look at some issues regarding data breaches. Okay, so data breaches always happen nowadays. So in your when you took the topic, the subject, information security kan, you already do the assignment. I'm not sure. I think Noel's group also do the same. You do research on several types or several events, incident regarding information security. Okay, so there are data breaches that always happen. So this one is this is a big number, big chunk of money, 4.1 billion records in the first 6 months of 2019. So it can be assumed that there will be more in the future, these data breaches. So this slide is just showing you that data breaches always happen, and it's important for you to make sure that your information is secure. Okay, so threats to information security. So it can be accidental losses. It can be because of human error, insider threats, right? Maybe software failure, can be software failure as well, or hardware failure, theft and fraud, right? We have discussed this previously. Loss of privacy or confidentiality means your personal data has been compromised, or confidentiality of corporate data, for example, like, maybe there's insider threat, loss of data integrity, and loss of availability, disruption of access to information, or use of information. You are not able to reach the information that you want to get. So this one I don't explain more, yeah. So backup and recovery, we should be looking at this in chapter 8. And then we have physical security, whereby we have computerized and manual policies and procedures. Maybe you install fans, you have lock and key, you have security cards, etc. In terms of technical security, you can apply encryption, you can apply authentication, authorization or audit trust. Okay, so the user should be authenticated and authorized to access your information. So in this case, it's database. Next is this one. So this is database audit trace. So this is a database auditing. So you first, this is the DBA, you as a DBA, database administrator. DBA is stands for database administrator. You enable data auditing, so you will be providing the parameter file, and then you specify audit options. It can be for the database, you specify audit option for the database, and then you'll have a server process, you execute commands, and then you review audit information and maintain the audit trail. Okay, so this one is in database environment for audit trace. So just an example to show you how to do this technical security for audit trace for your database. So usually it will be done by the DBA. Okay, so information assurance. IA is defined as measures that protect and defend information by ensuring the CIA. Okay, so you need this one. IA is to make sure that your information is always available, have integrity, it's authenticated, it's confidential, and non-repudiation. So non-repudiation, you already learned about this previously done. So it's the assurance that someone cannot deny something. Okay, so I think that's all for today. So these are the references for this subject, for this course. So I hope if you have a glance of what we will be dealing with throughout this semester, everything about data actually. So we will go depth into database terms next week. So this week is only about information, the basic of information, so that you understand what we will be dealing in the future in the subject. Okay, so I'll see you again during practical. So do you have any question for today's session? Is everything okay?
No, no question.
No question.
Okay. Donna. So thank you so much for your participation today. I think all is here, all present in this class. So thank you so much everyone for your attendance this morning. Although ada yang lambat, I hope you will not be late for our next sessions. So I'll see you again during practical. So those who are late just now, you will need to install the Oracle 21C. So you can refer to practical topic in your Google Classroom. You will find the link on to install the Oracle. Okay. Anyone else or installed just now? Anyone else other than Russell? Who else? I just know Noel installed. So the rest you need to install. Yeah, Farah already installed.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I think that's all for today's session. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll see you again this Friday. So if you have any problem installing your Oracle, please, you can always WhatsApp me personally, or you can ask in the group. If you up to you, you want to ask in the group, or you can directly WhatsApp me. Okay. So thank you so much once again, everyone. Good to see you all again. We will see each other again this Friday. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Miss.
Okay, thank you.